Welcome to Liverpool City Region Creating Careers. Students, please go to our website where you will find all student resources for this session. Jim, would you like to introduce today's presenters?
Yeah, today we've got Daniel and Costello and Katie Costello from Arup.
So, hi, as Jim said, my name's Dan Costello and I work for Arup, we've got an office in Liverpool. We're not exclusively involved in the maritime industry, but it does make up part of our organisation. Hence why Jim's asked me to come along and talk about Arup and what we do. So I joined Arup as an apprentice 15 years ago in London. You might recognise that from the accent. And I relocated to Liverpool 4 years ago, and I've been working in Liverpool ever since. I'm very passionate about careers and in particular apprenticeships. So who are Arup? We were formed as a structural and civil engineering company back in 1946 by Sir Arup, who you can see on the screen there. He was born in Newcastle from a Danish family, and Ove was one of the key figures in the design of the building you see on the right hand side there, which some of you will probably recognise as Sydney Opera House. So the Sydney Opera House, Ove Arup had a huge part to play designing that from our London office. Nowadays, Arup has grown since 1946. We're a company of designers, planners, engineers, architects, and technical specialists, and we work on things in the built environment. We don't actually build things ourselves, but we design things for other people to build, and we make sure that we try to build our buildings and infrastructure projects as sustainably as we possibly can. So a few more facts and stats about Arup. As I said, we were formed in 1946. We've now grown to have over 17,000 staff working in 96 offices in 35 countries. So we've got representation in large parts of the world, as you can see on the map there. And our current projects are spanned across 140 of the world's countries. But more importantly, we've got an office in Liverpool, and we've got an office of 70 people in Liverpool. And I'm going to talk to you about our Liverpool business and the types of opportunities that we have in Liverpool. This is a short video that I'm going to show.
Many people around the world use and enjoy our work every day, but sometimes people don't realise how we were involved. The Sydney Opera House is a good example. Its complex roof structure was made possible by our pioneering use of computer analysis and modelling. This project and the many that followed established Arup's reputation for excellence in engineering. Founded in 1946 by philosopher and engineer Ove Arup, we have since grown into a truly multidisciplinary organisation. We have an amazing mix of people with many different talents, working together and learning from each other by sharing their knowledge and ideas. And because Arup is held in trust for its employees, we are completely independent. This means we can deliver the best possible solutions to our clients and the wider world. By investing in research, we explore new ideas and develop new tools. Our people are encouraged to think creatively and challenge accepted practice. And all of this helps to ensure that we stay ahead of the market. We work closely with our clients and collaborators. Sometimes a project requires a team of international experts, whilst at other times a single engineer can make a difference. Our specialists are involved in all stages of a project, from the initial concept to the detailed design and tender phase. We are often present on site as well to manage delivery and ensure that everything is built according to plan. We work on projects both large and small, from infrastructure to master planning and buildings. For example, we design healthy lighting for schools to improve the learning environment for students. Develop sustainable hotels that improve the experience for guests and that reduce the impact on the environment. Create the perfect conditions in a museum to conserve art pieces and create a pleasant visitor experience. Calculate innovative structures for sport facilities that are designed around people. We also design roads, bridges and railways to improve travel transition time, as well as airport terminals and aviation infrastructure to provide a smooth travel experience. Through our work, we influence many people's lives, and this pushes us to make a positive difference in the world. We shape a better world.
So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an understanding, an idea of the types of projects we get involved in. So I've mentioned engineering. What exactly is engineering? So engineering is the use of science, maths, and technology to design and construct infrastructure and buildings. We like to think we make the impossible possible. An example of that is the building up on the left-hand side, which is CCTV building, or Central China Television building. I'm not a structural engineer, but I'm astounded how our structural engineers managed to make that building stand up. It looks like it should fall over to me. So design, I've also mentioned design a lot. So what is design? So the dictionary definition of design is creating a plan or drawing to show the look and function and workings of a building, a garment, or any other object before it is made. And that's exactly what we do. We in our designs, we produce models and drawings of our buildings and the infrastructure projects that we create, and we do so by trying to think of new ideas and solving problems. So as I said, one of the main things that Jim asked me to talk about was the types of roles that and careers that we've got at Arup, and particularly in Liverpool. So this slide just runs through some of the types of projects that we worked on the left-hand side, and some of the roles that we have in the Liverpool office. So as you can see from the left-hand side, we work on all sorts of things, from bridges to sports stadiums to museums, airports, infrastructure projects, office buildings, schools and universities. And this is just from our office in Liverpool. We worked on all of these types of projects. And the roles, there's lots of roles there on the right hand side. I'll go into some of them in a bit more detail on the next slide. But just to flag up a few on this one. So sustainability engineering. Sustainability is a huge part of what Arup do, and we try to make sure that we build new things, but we do so in a manner that we're not using too much natural resource or too much energy. So we have a team that advise on how we can do that. Advanced digital engineering. Obviously, the changes in digital technology over the last decade and more are unbelievable, and we've got a team of people that advise our clients on how they can best use digital tools. We've got a business support team, which includes our marketing and our admin teams, our secretaries, our receptionists, facilities management. We've got an office with which has got things that need to be fixed every now and then. So we need facilities management team, and we've got IT support. Computers are a big part of our job, and health and safety is important within our industry as well. Social value. We've got a team that advise clients on how they can do things better for the local economy, local environment, local people, and our social value team help us within Arup as well as people from different companies as well. So I thought I would use an example of a single project to see how many of those other things on the roles on the list that are on the right hand side of the list on the slide before. So decided to use a train station to show how many different people within our Liverpool office at Arup would work on a train station. So you have a civil engineer who would deal with with the landscape and the utilities, so supplying water and electricity to a train station. They'd also look at the tunnels. You've got geotechnical engineers who are interested in the makeup of the ground, and you wouldn't be able to build this. You've had to dig down to make this train station in this ground. So our geotechnical engineers would look into the composition of the ground and advise the rest of the team on how we could construct the building. Then we've got structural engineers who would design the structure, so the beams and the columns, to make sure that the train station can stand up. And it's not going to fall down. We've got mechanical, electrical, and public health engineers who are also known as building services, and they design and heating design and an electrical design, so that we can plug things in, lighting, for example. And then we also need running water and drainage to allow the station to function as well. We've got BIM, so building information modeling. As I said before about the design, we model almost all buildings that we work on, and this extract is very likely to have come from a BIM model. So we use software to model all of our buildings. You'd also require rail engineers for the tracks and the signaling systems. You'd need a fire engineer involved, because how do you get out in a fire? Where are the staircases? How do you safely get out of the station during a fire? I've mentioned sustainability engineers. If we're building a new building, we need to try and do so as sustainably as possible to use the least amount of energy. You would need a town planner, so you wouldn't get planning permission to build any building without the help of a town planner, and they know the planning system, and they will help the design team to make sure that the building is not affecting the surroundings in an adverse way. And then a couple more: transport planning. You would need a transport planner because you need to understand how many tracks you need, how many trains you need, how many people are going to be using the station. So transport planning comes into it. And then you'd need a project manager who's going to make sure that all of those people are doing what they need to do on time, and make sure it comes in on budget. So lots and lots of people are involved in just this one project on the screen. So what type of skills do you require? I've already mentioned science and mathematics are really key to engineering, and there are obviously lots of other roles that we mentioned. But some of the things the screen are the things we've got on the screen here are the type of skills that you need to do our jobs every day. Teamwork, as you've just seen, lots of people working together, so communication is extremely important. We need to solve problems, and you need to be enthusiastic and creative as well. So just onto the kind of last little bits, the routes into employment in Arup. We take on different people from different aspects of their life. We take on graduates, we take on apprentices, we take on experienced hires, which are people that have already qualified and maybe working for another company and they're looking for a change, and they'll come and join us. And we also offer internships. So I'll just go into a bit more detail on those. So graduate is obviously someone that's been to school and university, and we take on hundreds of graduates every year in Arup. Not necessarily in Liverpool, but in the whole of Arup, we take on hundreds every year, and we allow them to use the skills that they've learned during their degree on real world projects. We provide them with a mentor and a tailored development plan to allow them to become the best version of themselves that they can be. Apprentices, we also take on apprentices who often join us straight from school after GCSEs or A levels. But they're not the only types of apprentices we take on. We also take on people with a bit more experience who might want a career change. And that was my example. That I took a career change and joined Arup. So our apprentices, an apprenticeship is learn while you earn, or learn while you work. So they generally work 4 days in the office, and then they go to university or college 1 day a week to kind of learn the academic side of the job. Depending on which type of apprenticeship you're doing, they can take between 1 and 6 years. And again, similar to grads, we provide them with a tailored development plan and a mentor to help them throughout their careers. Internships, so we take on summer students who will obviously kind of join us during their summer holidays, to, like, if they're interested in engineering and they want to experience what like work and a working environment in the engineering sector. We offer summer placements. We also offer what we call industrial placements, which are up to a year long. If someone's maybe finished school and not quite sure what they want to do, and they want to try out engineering, then they can apply for one of our internships, and we treat them exactly the same as any other member of staff. You'll be working on real projects. You definitely won't be making a cup of tea. You'll be hands-on. You'll be working hard and solving problems as soon as from day one, really. So the last couple of bits. So this is our Liverpool office. This is what it looks like. We're in the Plaza in the commercial district in Liverpool, near to Moorfields train station. Top left is reception. Top right is what we call the design studio, which is where we can get away from our desks and come up and brainstorm and come up with creative ideas. We've got a VR headset in there and a 3D printer. Bottom left is a main desk area where we do the majority of our work. We've got sitting desks and standing desks. Personally, I like to stand for a lot of the day. And then bottom right is a presentation space that also doubles up as a large meeting room. So a typical day, the job is very office based. We do lots of our designs on computers, as I mentioned, and modeling. So we model in software. But we are working on things that are being built. So all engineers need to get to site for part of the time to see for a couple of reasons. One, we often do surveys, and then the other reason is to make sure that the buildings or infrastructure that we've designed is being built in accordance with the way we've designed it, to make sure that it's not being built incorrectly. So that's us. That's me. That's Arup. If anybody's got any questions, happy to take some now.
Great presentation this morning, and lots of information for our students to take in. And we've had quite a number of questions. I know we haven't got you for too long this morning, so shall we get straight into the Q&A session?
Yeah, go
answer
for
a
it.
couple of the questions on the last few slides around all the different programs that Arup are offering in terms of apprenticeships and graduate programs as well. I think one of the questions that's come in that's really quite interesting is, it says, do your employees start by spending some time in each department as engineers to obviously get a little bit of a flavour of all the different areas that Arup offer? That's
a really good question. Generally, if you join as an apprentice, generally not, which is why the industrial trainee type route in to have a little bit of experience before you decide exactly what you want to do. That's a really good way of coming in and trying everything out. By the time we've employed people as apprentices, generally they've kind of decided which path they want to take. So at the moment we don't. I'm not saying that won't change in the future.
Okay, and then leading on from that, we've had another really good question, which actually says, what new engineering skills are in demand currently in maritime engineering?
So I've got a couple of colleagues who might want to jump in and help out with answering some of these questions. But for me, digital is huge at the moment. The younger people that are coming in just put me to shame with their digital skills. And I mentioned advanced digital engineering. That team has kind of grown. I've been in Arup Liverpool for 4 years. There wasn't an advanced digital engineering team when I joined, and that they're just growing really quickly. So for me, I would say digital, but so some of my colleagues might disagree.
I think you're absolutely right, Dan. And in terms of maritime as well, energy from tidal power, especially in Liverpool, that's something we've been looking at for a while. So that's definitely a growing area. Energy from hydrogen as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. And can I just say as well, to support Dan, is a lot of in maritime particularly, they're now having ships going around the world with no one on board. What Dan said about the advanced technology, that is one of the key ones in any business, advanced technology. Thanks, Dan. And
a lot of our students will be looking at those kind of subjects from a STEM perspective in school. So yeah, they can sort of and pick that up. Just a personal question really for you, Dan. One of our students is asking, and what was your career path? And did you always want to be an engineer when you was in school, or? No,
I wanted to be a footballer.
like
so many young people. And I was okay, but not quite good enough. I got injured, and I decided, right, football's not gonna be there for me. I need to find a career. So I did a few jobs that I knew weren't exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be challenged every day, and I found out about engineering through a friend of mine who was he was a quantity surveyor, and he described what his job was like. And I thought, it sounds okay, but not quite for me. But then I looked at other jobs in the construction industry, and I decided that engineering was probably for me. So I applied to a number of companies for an apprenticeship, and that was 15 years ago, and I'm still here. So So do I want to be an engineer now? Yes. Did I want to be at the time? I wasn't quite sure, but it's been a very rewarding career so far.
So to add value to that, just before you go, because I know you're going to dash off in a minute, is that what were the transferable skills that you gained by coming through what you've got, Dan, to where you are now? What sorts of transferable skills did you?
Definitely, like I mentioned on that slide earlier, communication and teamwork is absolutely crucial, absolutely key, and being organised as well is another really good skill. I like to think I'm quite an organised person. My wife would probably say not so much at times, but organisation is definitely a good one.
Thanks for that, Dan. I know we've got more questions. What we will do is we will ask you to answer all of the questions that our students have sent in this morning, and along with the other sessions from the maritime sector, we'll then post all of the answers to those questions on our webpage for our students then to actually pick up. Students, don't forget to check out the Creating Careers roadmap to evaluate today's session. The employer video links and resources are all available on our website. Go to growthplatform.org/talent/careers hub. If you've got any further questions that you want to send in to us, please send them to the careers hub at growthplatform.org. Thanks for joining.